right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Coffee with EMCSA session. My name is Rob Walker, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Paul Rogerson. Paul, welcome to our latest Coffee with EMCSA session. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing very well indeed, thank you.
Fantastic. So, Paul, you have a very interesting career, and we're very excited to have you, such an experienced person, joining us for EMCSA. Quickly give those of us who are watching a quick little rundown of who is Paul Rogerson and what makes you tick.
Okay, I'm an engineer by design. I started off my life as a R&D telecoms engineer, which always made me look at what's new. And then using that knowledge to help businesses becoming greener and more efficient. I think I also have a view from technology and technology views for businesses, but I've also been a fleet manager. So I do have some insights on demands of fleet managers, how they can seek to reduce their costs, make the staff safer, but also in this day and age, how they can become greener.
Fantastic. So I think what makes it unique is you're not just somebody who gives consulting without actually understands what happens on the ground, where the meat meets the metal, so to speak. You've been on the ground and you know what happens on the ground.
Yes, and it was interesting. I've seen the power of telematics, the power of technology, where I went to see two contractors with two waste trucks, bought roughly at the same time, done the same kilometres, same amount of work. One was in prestige warehouse state, the other one was an absolute wreck. The difference was the person had used telematics to understand when to do the maintenance and how to look after it properly and how to control his drivers. And that just showed me the use of technology can make a big difference to how a fleet is run.
Fantastic. And before we get into what you're going to speak to us at EMCSA this year, which I think is going to be really exciting, because I know a lot of people talk about fleets being I don't want to say an easy win, but an easy win for greening. Talk to us a little bit about what BBST does and what you guys are in the market at the moment. A little bit of a, dare I say, here's your 3-minute business plug. Go for it.
So BBSTelematics was set up about 2 years ago, using my background of telecommunications and being in remote workforce management for some 15 years, and my contacts around the world, and decided there was an opportunity to set up this type of business within South Africa to help fleet managers get the extra 1, 2 or 3%. That then developed to start looking at how we can use green techniques to help businesses even further. And by green, I mean not only going to EVs, but also how you can make drivers drive better, more efficiently, and use less fuel. So I put the whole lot in together. So currently, we're working with a number of people in South Africa doing their work on how to implement EVs into their fleets.
Fantastic. And I mean, let's now touch on EVs. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I know we talk to a lot of industry leaders, and we're very privileged to talk to guys who really know the know, so to speak. Your focus is currently on I think what is a really big opportunity, because most fleets their vehicles drive a pretty much set amount of kilometers every day, so it's very easy for them to determine exactly what they require in terms of battery and energy storage, and the vehicles tend to be in a set location overnight so that they can charge up. With your focus being on transitioning EVs or fleets into EVs, what are some of the things? I know you're going to be you're sharing some know-how from around the world of how other people have done it. Give us a quick rundown of maybe people who are watching who are fleet managers who have been thinking about transitioning to EVs, but they see this as like almost an impossible task. What can they expect to hear from you come EMCSA next year in terms of how it can be done?
Well, I think that there's a number of things. The first one is there is a lot of knowledge around the world that can be used in South Africa. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, if you pardon the phrase. So the first thing I can bring is knowledge of people who've transitioned 100, 200, 300, 500 vehicle fleet into using EV. We also understand the tool sets you need to use, and we help you use it for deciding which of your fleet is more suitable to go into EVs. We also understand how to put together the infrastructure, the charging infrastructure, in order to support your fleet at your depot. One of the other key things we can do, and we do, is retrain your drivers of how to use an EV. And that is critical of accepting EVs into your fleet. If you look at a well-behaved driver who doesn't accelerate fast or is harsh braking, they can get between 20 and 25% more range out of the same vehicle as a driver who does harsh acceleration and does harsh driving overall. And by focusing on these issues with our dashboards and our knowledge, we can build a framework up for the fleet manager to use, which becomes daily use to manage his drivers and manage his infrastructure and manage his vehicles. So he's not doing it by himself, or he or she not doing it by themselves. We are using a massive data from around the world to help people get a jump start in this country.
Fantastic. So, and I'm assuming, Paul, I mean, your talk isn't just aimed at those who have fleets of, tens or hundreds of vehicles, but also for the small business owner who maybe only has 5 or 6 vehicles, and they can utilize, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming the principles that you are going to be talking about and that can be applied to anyone regardless of what size fleet they have.
Absolutely, Rob. And I don't care if it's just got one vehicle or it's got 1,000 vehicles. It's the same principles apply. It's the same focus. And I'm working with one driver, and I'm helping him of how to drive more smoothly in order to extend the charge on his vehicle. And it's the same rule set all along.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, before we let you go, Paul, and I know you're a busy man, and we do try and keep these talks only to 10, 15 minutes. Talk to us a little bit. I mean, obviously, EMCSA's focus next year is around the localization and opportunities created by localization. Do you see this transition of fleets being a massive localization opportunity, creating new employment opportunities? Obviously, we know in South Africa, employment is a big thing. Do you see this as in your opinion, is the transition of big fleets to EVs, is it an easy win and something that we should be focusing on in the localization of South Africa and EVs?
Well, let me put my answer into context. Westgrow did a report on EVs a few months ago, and in one of their tables, it says that about 25% of all the vehicles in South Africa are what you will call panel vans. And they're the ones used by most big companies to do local distribution. And as we all know, with the COVID, people got used to buying at home, and so that market is growing in a very big way. So if you look at the cost savings these people get, they get cost savings because electricity is less than the fuel. The amount of maintenance is a lot less because you have got less moving parts along that line, and you can enable drivers to get more jobs to drive the whole thing forward. So my elevator pitch is the CFO can say to his investors, I'm saving money. The CEO will say, I'm going green. What's also important is if you go green, your customers see you going green, and it will enhance your brand. And I believe also it will generate new, different types of roles within this country.
So to summarize your kind of your response to me, maybe a person who's a bit of a salesman, I talk about transitioning an EV to fleet offers a company a triple threat and a triple advantage. They can talk the talk in terms of a green transition, which is good for their brand. They can save money, which is good for the CFO, and the CEO can report back to the board by saying, look how good we are. We're doing the right thing. And that sounds like a triple threat to an easy win to me.
Oh, it is. And I also noticed the kind of what some people are saying is, oh, well, EVs, it means the garages are going to be out of work, etc., etc. Well, no, there won't be, because there will be things to do on EVs. There'll still be the tyres, there'll still be wheels, there'll still be transmission, there'll still be long-term battery to be replaced. So there has to be some upskilling there. As you know, if you take a fleet vehicle into a garage today, they just plug in a laptop to see what's going wrong. Same with EVs. So the transition of garages isn't going to be that much. They're just moving from petrol pumps into DC fast chargers. So I think it's just a transition which people need to go. And I think with fleets moving towards EVs, that's the chicken that's laying the egg to pull the whole of industry forward in this country.
Fantastic. Well, Paul, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say, and I know, when there's a lot of fleet managers out there who are having this discussion from the big companies down to the small guys, and as you mentioned, 25%, that seems like a massive, easy win to us. So, from myself, Rob, here at EMCSA, thank you very much for giving us a little tidbit of what we can expect to hear from you in March next year. We're privileged to have you as a speaker and a global leader sharing your knowledge with us here in South Africa. So, from all of us here at EMCSA, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for the opportunity, and I look forward to next year.
Fantastic, Paul. So that was Paul Rogerson from BBSTelematics talking to us about the transition of the fleet vehicles into EVs. And I think it's a massive number. He talks about 25% of the vehicles on the road are some way linked to a fleet. And if we can get that transition going forward, there's some easy wins there for us, and there's some massive localization opportunities that we're talking about. I think a very important topic, very important speech, and something that we should all listen to come EMCSA next year. For myself, Rob, and the entire EMCSA crew, I hope everyone has a great day wherever you are and that you enjoyed our coffee session. Thank you very much, and goodbye.